Alright, so if you have chosen a broker, let's get that account opened. Remember, there is no rush in opening a brokerage account, as you can make it through most of my course without even having a brokerage account open. So there is no rush. But if you're ready to go, here are some of the things that a brokerage will typically ask you while opening up your account. First, the typical information like address, name and email, and along with a social. Your social is not used for a credit check. This is used for tax purposes. Most will also ask you about your account type, asking if you're an individual person, an LLC, or a joint tenant. And if you're just a normal person, you are most likely just an individual. But if you're in a unique situation, give them a call. They then will ask you about your financial information, like how much money you make in a year, and what's your experience in the stock market. They just take your word for what you say for the most part, and they use this information to judge how much risk they're allowing you to have. This may also affect if they let you open up an account that will short stocks, if it will do options or option spreads. So just keep that in mind. You'll then have to choose if you're opening a cash account, a margin account, or an IRA account. Every broker is slightly different, but most will default to a cash account. But there are some that are sneaky and default to a margin account in hopes that you'll hold margin overnight and owe them the fees from holding that margin. You can always switch from a cash to a margin account, but it is somewhat harder to change from a margin to a cash account. Some brokers won't even let you do it, or they'll say if you change this to a cash account, you have to stay at a cash account. We won't offer margin for you anymore. Just remember the pros and the cons of the cash and the margin account and make a plan for that, especially when thinking about the pattern day trade rule. At some point during the application, you'll have to choose what kind of equities you want to trade. These are things like options, naked options, option spreads, futures, or just stocks. If there are no additional data charges, I would recommend getting approved for all of them that you can. But at minimum, at least stocks and options. Also remember that futures with some brokers are a separate account, so be sure to know if it is of the same account or needs to be separately funded. You may also be asked if you're an investor or a speculator. If you plan on day trading, you are a speculator. Investors hold longer than a year. And since you're taking this course, I would assume you're a speculator. Last, you will have to fund your account. Some brokers have a minimum deposit and a maximum deposit, so be sure to look at the fine print about that. And most brokers will allow you to set up at least one ACH to link to the account. Most will give you those micro deposits that you have to confirm, and then your account will be linked. But some brokers are a little sleeker than others. For example, Lightspeed needs a voided check, or they want you to wire. But TradeStation, on the other hand, you just have to type in your bank information and it's immediately connected. As a side note, before you send any wires to people, make sure to call the broker and make sure it really is them and it is their information. There's a lot of wire fraud out there. Then it will typically take 3 to 5 business days for your cash to go into the account and settle. So from the moment that you fund your account, it will likely take up to a week or even longer for you to be able to trade. So just be aware of that. Any broker will be more than happy to help you set up an account. So if you have any questions about setting up an account, be sure to contact them and they'll help you set up your account. So get that account set up and I will see you in the next video.